It's being reported that Canelo Alvarez wants to wait to see the outcome of Sergey Crusher Kovalev and Anthony Yarde before he makes his decision on his next fight. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button. Also subscribe to the channel for the latest and greatest in boxing. If you want to become part of the gang notification gang, please hit the bell icon. Let's jump right into it. Shout out to Lance Pugmire of The Athletic, and he got some information from his sources. It says, on very good authority, so basically in layman's terms, a credible source, on very good authority, The Athletic Boxing has been told that Canelo Alvarez wants to first wait to see if Crusher Kovalev, Sergey Kovalev, comes out with a clean victory in Russia August 24th. If he does, then a Canelo Kovalev fight would be eyed on DAZN for November. He goes on to say, if Canelo can land the Crusher fight, it keeps with his effort and that of trainer, Eddie Reynoso, I'm assuming, Eddie Reynoso, to engage in legacy bouts as they chase a belt in the 4th division. Someone said legacy bouts and laughed. By picking the oldest guy in the division sounds like a cherry pick. Wow. See, the fans know new media. Listen, I've already went over this several times, but I guess I have to keep doing it. Canelo Alvarez versus Sergey Kovalev. That's not a Rocky Fielding, Liam Smith type fight. There is some inherent danger. It's not a horrible fight. However, to me, this is not a good look for Canelo Alvarez, and I'm going to break it down. And it's a great look for new media because I've been telling you motherfuckers the same shit over and over and over again. And what happened to all the fans that say, there was like one day, in recent memory where it said Canelo Alvarez and Demetrius Andrade are in serious negotiations, and all of a sudden, the Canelo Man fans came out the woodwork and they said, see, Canelo's going to fight Andrade. And I said, nothing is signed. We got to wait and see. A week later, Canelo posted a tweet saying he's basically throwing the Golden Boy person under the bus. And now we're not hearing anything about Canelo versus Demetrius Andrade, also a champion in the division where Canelo actually is a title holder. Even though he got stripped by the WBC and the IBF, he still has another title, and Demetrius Andrade has a title. You're trying to fight this quote unquote legacy bout with Kovalev in a division you've never fought at before. Again, there is some danger there because Kovalev's a bigger person, and if he gets past Yarde, that'll be another credible win to back up his Eliter Alvarez win. But to me, why are we talking about Canelo fighting at 175 when he's a champion at 160 and 168? Right now, he's a champion. So what's the point of having belts there if you're just going to just bounce around? See, I noticed the same thing with Mikey Garcia. Mikey Garcia, fighters are trying to do legacy fights or whatever they're trying to do to the point where they're not even staying situated and cleaning house in divisions with good talent pools. I'm not really with that. Settle down in division and, show you're the best at that. And then once you've taken adequate attempts and adequate, fights that really solidify who you are, then maybe consider. I think back in the day, the throwback fighters had this concept and they utilized it. Guys like Sugar Shane Mosley. Shane Mosley was the baddest lightweight of the time. He had 35, 37 fights, 33 by knockout or something ridiculous. No lightweight at the time was fucking with him. So once that was already established and he kept getting knockout and knockout and knockout and looking good and stuff like that, he moved up. He's from SoCal. De La Hoya's from East LA, and he had a big major fight at 47 with Oscar De La Hoya too. So that makes sense because Shane proved he was the man at lightweight. Then he moved up. Same thing with Juan Manuel Marquez, one of my favorite fighters. Shane Mosley too. But Marquez, another one of my favorites. He beat Juan Diaz. He had beat Juan Diaz. Juan Diaz, Baby Bull, was the person to beat at the time, you know, and it was a classic fight. And he proved, you know, I'm better than Juan Diaz, and he stopped him. So in doing that, he had been trying to fight Manny Pacquiao and couldn't get the Pacquiao rematch. He even had shirts like, oh, Pacquiao's hiding, or I beat Pacquiao twice or something like that. And he couldn't get the Pacquiao fight. Mayweather was in retirement. So after he beat Juan Diaz at the actual fight where he beat Juan Diaz, he was interviewing with Max Kellerman. He said, since Pacquiao won't give me no rematch, I want to fight the best. And the best out there is to fight Floyd Mayweather. Even though he's retired, I'm calling you out, Floyd. So he called him out. Floyd, you know, said, Floyd retired after the Ricky Hatton bout. And then Floyd was on a 21-month layoff, came out of retirement, fought Juan Manuel Marquez. It was supposed to be at a catchweight, you know. But the point being is Marquez had proven he was the man. You know, he had a sturdy resume with the Katsitas and all these other people, you know, Chris John, Pacquiao, and all this, Barrera, Marco Antonio Barrera, and he had these people on his resume. And then after he topped it off with the Diaz first fight, then he called out Mayweather, you know, pound for pound Mayweather. Then he moved up. Canelo's trying to move up when he's an active champion, and there's other great active people at 160 and 168 that could put on meaningful fights. So this is why I keep telling you guys the Kovalev fight is an advanced cherry pick. His team, Canelo, I was born ready. They must like the style matchup, and I can understand why they like the Kovalev style matchup. Kovalev is slow. Kovalev has been through wars with Jean Pascal, who's now a champion. He's been through, most notably and recently, wars with Andre Ward. The second one, he got stopped. You know, he was getting fucked up to the body in the first one. You know, he knocked Ward down, to his credit. It was a good fight, but then he gets stopped in the second one. Then he gets stopped by Eliter Alvarez, knocked down 3 times in that fight, and people were like, damn, this man's done. So he had to switch again. He had already went from John David Jackson to the Russian trainer, you know, and he had Olympian strength and conditioning coach he brought in. Then he left them because he knew the Eliter Alvarez rematch was a crossroads fight. Kovalev knew it was a do or die fight. Why is Canelo, for his legacy fight, why does he want to fight Kovalev so bad? When you have fresher light heavyweights that look and need names like a Canelo, they need to prove how good they are in their skill set, like Artur Beterbiev, Alexander Vostok, who beat Adonis. That was a good win for him. You know, Beterbiev, Vostok. Dimitri Bivol has been calling out Canelo so much, even though he's a champion at light heavyweight. He said he'll go down to 168. He can make 168 for Canelo. You know, Canelo's team not saying nothing, nada. They're not saying nothing about fighting any of those in prime, more youthful guys who don't have a bunch of mileage on them, who, you know, we haven't found out all their flaws because they don't have a resume like Kovalev. We know Kovalev's strengths. We know he's a good fighter, but we know his weaknesses too. And his weaknesses have been prevalent. He's not a good inside fighter. He's suspect to the body, very susceptible there. You know, these just so happens Canelo's great at hand speed, combination punching. He's a Mexican fighter who has that aggressive Mexican body attack, you know, if we're going to stereotype. So to me, this is they're trying to go after Kovalev because he has mileage on him, and stylistically that style meshes a lot better with Canelo. All he has to do is, you know, be on point defense wise, and he's going to be the smaller person. So he already has great upper body movement. He's going to be faster than Kovalev, and Ward already showed you the blueprint. And if that wasn't good enough, Eliter Alvarez showed you that the blueprint is followable. There's ways to beat Kovalev. So to me, this is a terrible look for Canelo. Again, not that the fight is just the worst fight I've ever heard of or anything. I'm not going to embellish in that way. But the fans, they're, oh yeah, I told you he wanted to fight Andrade. Why would he wait? Why would Canelo wait So Golden Boy already kind of dropped the ball, and there seems to be some inner turmoil there. You know, they couldn't get Kovalev the first time. Now he's about to fight Anthony Yarde. And beyond that, you know, they couldn't get Derevyanchenko sewed up. So Canelo's looking crazy. Plus the franchise championship with the WBC, that wasn't a great look for Canelo Alvarez. So now Canelo is openly telling you, after he was allegedly in serious negotiations with a DAZN fighter, he's telling you, there's a DAZN fighter in my division right now who's coming off a significant win. DAZN put on Mad Selesky versus Andrade. Andrade had a considerably easier time, even had a first round knockdown of Mad Selesky. He had an easier time, considerably easier than when Danny Jacobs fought Mad Selesky, who Canelo just fought. So Canelo was willing to fight Danny Jacobs. Look at the pattern. Canelo was willing to fight Danny Jacobs, a good fighter, good resume, big, but a guy who's been stopped and a guy that Golovkin beat. I thought he beat Golovkin. It was close, whatever. But a guy that Golovkin had a win over and a guy that had been stopped before, you know, and Danny Jacobs had recent performances where they were very close, where people were like, you know, did we see the best Danny Jacobs versus Luis Cuba Arias? He seemed a little bit overzealous, he was like trying a little bit hard to knock out Arias, you know, and he kind of admitted that after the fight. Then he fights Mad Selesky, and then some people even said Selesky won. I thought Jacobs won the fight, but it was close. Then he fights Derevyanchenko, he drops him, but then, you know, the fight's close, you know. Derevyanchenko fight is real close. Some people thought Derevyanchenko won, some people thought Jacobs won. That's who Canelo selects. Now he wants to select Kovalev, you know. But you got Andrade, and he can't get a shot. And these guys have been in the same, you know, group of divisions since 54. They could have fought at 54, Jermall Charlo, and Canelo, or they could have fought at 160, and it hasn't happened yet. So to me, this is the stylistic matchup. Canelo's team, his trainers or whoever, they are picking who they want based on Canelo's style. And there's already like a lot of I don't even want to say rumors, but there's a lot of intel that suggests that Canelo Alvarez's knees are giving out. You know, he got Pat Ewing knees, and his knees are giving him problems. So that is another reason why I believe they really don't want to fight a guy like Andrade, who's fresh, with, you know, African-American fighter with an American style, who can move. He's southpaw. He's tricky. If you look at Canelo's worst performances, or the performances where he didn't look as dominant, most of them were mobile guys with the overall all around, you know, boxing MO. You know, Austin Trout's, where the first half of the fight was competitive. They just had that bullshit open scoring, and, you know, had some bullshit scorecards and said Trout needed a knockout to win. But, you know, most famously, Mayweather fight gave Canelo all the problems in the world. He looked terrible there. And then Edeslandi Lara. So what his team is trying to do is just not put him in those positions. It's very easy to see, you know. And I think part of it might be his knee or whatever the fuck. They don't even want him to, even though there's relevant guys, they know what type of style troubles Canelo. You know, Canelo in his sparring recently, he sparred with Bilal Akawi and also Vyacheslav Shabransky. See, I don't think he minds sparring with guys like that because they're not necessarily known for much of a defense. They have a cool size, you know, a cool punch, but they're more come forward guys. That's what Canelo, that's his bread and butter. That's where, if you come into Canelo's wheelhouse, that's where he does his best work. So that's what it really feels like. They're trying to hand select Canelo's opponents to stylistically favor him. And Kovalev, to me, is a lot more susceptible to what Canelo is good at. If Canelo can take his punch or can avoid being punched, you know, because he's a smaller person and he does have the better defense, right? And he's just fresher. Kovalev, we've seen him wilt. We've seen he hasn't been the same since Andre Ward. He was just one fight removed from people saying it's over for him, you know, and that's the guy you want to wait around for instead of fighting JERMALL CHARLO, instead of fighting, you know, Demetrius Andrade, who's already aligned with the zone. That tells you what you want to know. And, you know, it's just a bad look for all the fans. They say, oh, yeah, you know, Canelo, he's in deep negotiations. Yeah, that lasted, what, 5 days? And then now they're not even talking about Andrade. So once again, new media, the truth always comes out. They don't want to fight Andrade. Why would you wait for Kovalev when Andrade just finished his fight? So the time is aligned. You can get a fight rocking with Andrade, do the negotiation. You're on the same side. You're both with the zone, right? You can set that up and be ready to go by October or whenever he's planning on coming back, October, November, December. You would rather wait to see an outcome of a late August fight against Anthony Yarde in Russia and then, you know, pursue Kovalev basically if he looks good enough in the fight, or maybe if he looks bad but he wins. To me, that's not a good look, because it's more of a scavenger mindset. Like I said, like a vulture waiting for a wounded animal type thing, man. And when boxing does this type of stuff, I'm just gonna tell you straight up, this makes me want Anthony Yarde to win like nobody's business, because I want to see if Anthony Yarde, he's buff, African-American, athletic type of style. You know, he does the mitt work, kind of the fancy mitt work like Floyd be doing and shit like that. Let's see if Canelo Alvarez wants to fight Anthony Yarde if he beats Kovalev, because that will prove everything that I'm saying even more so. If Anthony Yarde, let's say he looks spectacular and knocks out Kovalev, just say, I'm not saying that's my prediction because I think that's a tough fight for Yarde, right? Let's see if Anthony Yarde, you know, looked crazy good and stops Kovalev in Russia. Will Canelo fight Anthony Yarde at 175, no catch weight, at 175? I would love to see it. And if he's not willing to, then that goes to show what I've been saying is they're trying to hand select the styles that they think Canelo will fare the best with, you know? And to me, it's already provable, even without the outcome or without Yarde winning. Because again, why are you looking at, if you want to move to 175 to set history, there's a lot of guys you can do that with. Better Biev, who hits like a mule. You know, Vodstick, who beat Adonis Stevenson. I'm glad that he's recovered. You have Dimitri Bivol, who's been calling you out. You're avoiding and ignoring all of them and just talking about Kovalev. And please don't give me no bullshit about Kovalev like as if he's this massive star, because guess what? Canelo is the massive star. Canelo's a bigger star than Kovalev. He's a bigger star than all those light heavyweights. So he's the star attraction. And at the end of the day, it would be, we had to sit and suffer through Canelo, Liam Smith, Canelo, Amir Khan, Canelo versus Chavez, which was a horrible fight. Chavez didn't do shit. You know, we had to suffer through Canelo, Rocky Fielding. So obviously, Better Biev, Vodstick, all those guys would be the B-side to Canelo, and they would all present better test, in my opinion, than Chavez and, you know, Liam Smith and Rocky Fielding. So don't give me no bullshit about Kovalev has the biggest name at light heavyweight, because it's clearly not about that. People would tune in just based on the fact that Canelo Alvarez is attempting a title at a 4th division. But like I've been saying, new media, the truth always comes out. And the fact that Canelo's team is willing to wait instead of going straight into it or contacting JERMALL CHARLO or contacting Demetrius Andrade and really sending him a serious offer, he would rather wait for a guy who's not even aligned with the zone, a guy who's aligned with main events in Top Rank. So basically a fighter on another network. You'd rather wait to see what he's doing and how he looks than to just say, man, fuck it. I'm a champion right here at 160. I could unify with Demetrius Andrade. That shows me they don't want to fight that style, because Andrade is constantly on the back burner. You know, when you lost the fight with, you don't want to fight Triple G. You lost the fight with Kovalev the first time, and then you lost the fight with Derevyanchenko by not meeting the deadline, you and your team, and then you got mad at them. You should have, at least at that point, went after Demetrius Andrade. You really should have went after Demetrius Andrade before Derevyanchenko, before Kovalev, because then you wouldn't have got stripped. You wouldn't need to be the franchise champion. You wouldn't have got stripped by the IBF, because you could have told all these people, all these sanctioning bodies, I'm about to unify undisputed with Demetrius Andrade. So everybody get out the way, and then I'll fight any mandatory I need to after the fact. So bottom line, Canelo, him and his team, his handlers, whoever you want to blame, they don't want to fight certain styles. And it looks like the American style, especially African-American black fighters who are bigger than Canelo, who have speed, reflex, complete fighters. You know why? Because Canelo has more of an American style. So these guys have that, but they're also taller, rangy, you know, faster, better gas tank. Canelo seems to want to work at his pace and tapers off and has lulls and stamina issues, it appears. So I don't think he wants to fight a well-cardioed Demetrius Andrade, who's bigger, rangy, and you know he might have to chase him, especially if his knees are bad and stuff. He'd rather have a Kovalev who has showed these vulnerabilities that I've mentioned, who can't fight on the inside, who we've watched get stopped. Why would you rather fight a guy who we've all seen get stopped than to go to light heavyweight, right, and fight a guy we've never seen get stopped? Better Biev, Vaultstick, you know, Dimitri Bivol, or even 168. David Benavidez, never seen him get stopped. You know, we never seen CALLUM Smith get stopped. You're avoiding all that. We never seen Andrade or CHARLO get stopped. I don't even remember when CHARLO got hurt, really, like badly hurt, like discombobulated hurt, as far as JERMALL CHARLO. So out of all those people at 160 and 168 that we've never seen, that look fresher, never seen them get stopped before, you want to fight the guy who's been stopped twice in recent memory and is 3 of 3 in his last 6 fights, had to go through 3 different trainers, can't fight on the inside, yada, yada, yada. Tells you what you need to know. Demetrius Andrade, DAZN, is criminal. They don't want to give him a chance. Black Murderers Row, like I predicted from the beginning. You know, the Kovalev fight, again, is not the worst fight, but it's sad what they're doing with Andrade, and then they're going to try to justify it as a legacy fight. You know, oh, he's attempting in the 4th division. How about you clean house at 160, 168, and you can do whatever the fuck you want at 175. But again, in today's modern age of boxing, they're trying to make up their rules. See, this is what happened with Mikey Garcia. He should have stayed put at 135. You know, two Mexican fighters have recently done this what I'm talking about. Not clean house and stay put. Show you're the best at that division and then move up. Mikey Garcia, fight Lomachenko at 135. Would have been a great fight. Undefeated guy versus a once beaten guy. And then that would have proven to me who's the best lightweight. You know, because the other newcomers like Devin Haney, Ryan Garcia, they're not as resume wise, they're not as advanced. So that would have been the person who's the best light heavyweight right then, and it would establish something. Or fight at 140, Regis Prograis, Josh Taylor, you know, Jose Ramirez and Mikey Garcia, something like that. Even though Mikey Garcia trains with Ramirez, one of the other guys, anybody. And then you would have solidified yourself at 140, then move up and fight Errol Spence. But he's trying to fight 3 different weight classes in one calendar year. You know, this is what Canelo's doing. He wants to be a champion at 160, but not unified with the fresher people who are undefeated, who have never lost at 160, who've been calling him out, like JERMALL CHARLO, like Demetrius Andrade, who's on DAZN. You know, the guys who are down to fight him, like David Benavidez said he would love to fight him. CALLUM Smith got called out by Canelo and his team, said he would love to fight him, but hasn't received any offer. BIVOL at 75. You know, you're trying to skip around and pick. That lets you know what it is. Let me know what you guys think. We working. So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button, and you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxing Ego, the future of boxing.